I guess what you're saying about making decisions, something that I am constantly battling with myself is the inner battle between my gut and my brain. I know that sounds really weird.
No,
but
it's real.
I go with my gut a lot. I'm I think a lot of the decisions I make in life are very sort of instinctual. I don't like to be bombarded with evidence and facts and all that sort of stuff. I just like to feel a certain way about how I would like something to sort of transpire. It can be taking a film, accepting a script, doing a business deal, buying a house. Like it's all sorts of different things. Through your monk life, did you feel like you would rely on your kind of inner instincts rather than like getting the evidence of this is going to make you this much money, or if you do that, these are the risks? Where do you stand with that sort of thing?
Yeah,
that was the most poorly worded question, but you know what I mean.
No, mate. I think I think this has been such a conversation that is what a question sounds like in a conversation. And,
right.
And I think I've asked you fairly poorly worded questions today as well, but I think that's what real communication
we're having
is.
A chat, yeah.
Yeah, rather than like, mate, I've got question one. Like,
right.
But no, I think I get what you're saying. And if I go on the wrong track, let me know. But living as a monk, you're trained to understand that everything exists in a certain mode. And so I'll explain what that means. And so in the monk philosophy, there are 3 modes. And the modes are the mode of ignorance, the mode of passion, and the mode of goodness. And it's said that every decision, every thought, every action, every intention, every relationship can be in the mode of ignorance, mode of passion, or mode of goodness. And the mode of ignorance is where your relationships or any act is based on insecurity or fear. So when you're doing something out of fear, or you're doing it out of insecurity, or you're doing it out of pressure, that's considered the mode of ignorance. And energetically, we all feel that, right? Know whether I would know whether you were being forced to do this interview today, out of some sort of fear or some sort of whatever it may be. The mode of passion is where you're doing something because you want a certain result. You're doing it just for the reward. You're doing it just because it's going to get you what you want. It's going to get you to the goal.
Okay.
And so that's considered the mode of passion. And again, energetically, you can tell that when someone has an agenda or someone wants something out of you.
I've come here to get my point across on something.
Totally. And then finally, the mode of goodness is the energy of like, I feel really at peace. I feel really at ease. This feels aligned with my values. And therefore, it feels like the right decision. And so we were trained to sense energetically whether things felt like the mode of ignorance, mode of passion, or mode of goodness, which was a really helpful framework because sometimes things were really hard to just sense without knowing where it sat in terms of a characteristic.
That's so interesting.
And so that was really, really helpful at the time. And so I find that I'm the same as you, where I make decisions energetically.
Yeah.
But I think having moved into the real world again, I felt that I had to start getting used to understanding other elements. Kind of what you mentioned earlier, which I loved, which was like, I wish they had a class on life at school, because it's like you haven't paid your bill, and you know, there's football players not paying their taxes or whatever it may be, and like that may be for different reasons. But anyway, you get the point. That there's some things that you just don't know, and so what I've started to do, and I've said this a few times, and that's why it's a little formula that I use when I sit down with someone. Whether it's business, whether it's relationships, whether it's work, even whether it's this, the first thing is always energy. That's my first gate that I want to get through. And if I don't feel energetically aligned with someone, then already there's no future here. Like it's not going anywhere.
Really? Wow.
And then the next thing I look at is strategically, if it's business, so if it's personal, it's only energy. But if it's business, I look at, well, I like this person energetically. Do I think they're strategically aligned with where this has to go? Like, do I think they can actually implement this? Do I believe? Because a lot of people have great energy, but they don't know how to implement anything.
Yeah.
And then finally, I look at, well, does the money align? Does the monetary value align with the energy and strategy?
Sure.
That's been my business version of what I learned as a monk.
So what you're saying then, that is a combination of both.
Correct.
Allowing like your gut, your energy to kind of allow yourself to pursue further the opportunity.
Yeah.
And then you take a sort of mental look at it to be like, I'm accepting the opportunity from an emotional point of view. Now I need to see if it makes sort of logical sense.
Correct. And if it doesn't, then we're going to stop there again.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So I've found that more useful for me because I found that energetically I can get excited about a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I'm the same.
Yeah. And I'm that kind of person. And again, I never want to block that.
Sure.
At the same time, I think we have to become more selective with our opportunities and know when to say no and know how to manage stuff. And that's at least helped me.
Sure.
So again, I'm not saying anyone has to live like that. I'm just, that's
No,
what
it's
worked
interesting.
for me. Yeah.
It's really interesting. I am very much like go off my gut.
Yeah.
I tell you what, my mum is an unbelievable judge of character.
Wow.
And I think she might have, without knowing what you're talking about, where she can pick up on people's energies.
Yeah.
Because we could meet a new person as a family. We've met this new person. 3 of us could love this new person and another 3 could not like this new person. And my mum will be like, no, no, don't like that person. And then within 6 months, all of us are like, do you remember that person that we were really good friends with for a little bit? She's really got a keen eye for people that we would get along with. Yeah, she's
that's
amazing like that.
Mums are like that. Now that you say that, all my mates who let me down when I was a teenager,
I bet your mum could have pointed it out. Yeah, absolutely.
Every time. And I was like, Mum, no, they're my best friend. I'm never going to leave them. They're like a brother to me.
Yeah.
And then like 7 months later, the person stabbed you in the back. And then you're like, oh, Mum, like, you know.
But the good thing about mums is they wouldn't judge you for it.
Yeah, they don't.
They're like, look, I told you, but you have to make your own mistakes.
Exactly. But